Welcome to War 10, Season 23. Starting off here with my normal Path 9. War went a little bit differently. We were told to wait on Section 2 before while we had some people do a boss clear. So I just went ahead and waited until everything was cleared before I even did Section 1. So I don't have to deal with the global in any way. It wouldn't have affected Section 1. It's more just so I can save boosts. And I can just finishing everything up on one set. If you see that apocalypse and wondering will he do it again, well, you'll have to wait and see. This first fight, this mojo's relatively easy. Pretty much everything's easy on this node. It's just a matter of how much health you lose. You can see there I use a 30% combo boost. That's kind of why I waited, because you can see that korg on the next node. I certainly didn't want to die to that one again. This fight, like I said, it's pretty easy. There's really nothing too much you can put here. It's just, how many potions is it going to eat. I'm mojo unduped. I forget what exactly his dupe even does. So he's pretty easy. I didn't even bother dropping decks because I knew that it wasn't going to be an issue. And it's another thing I do on this next fight on korg. Decided to leave off decks, or I decided to keep on decks to see how things would go. And and a little small mention, if you read the chat down in the bottom, you can see my battle group talking a little bit. I was the last person to go, and the only person who had died in our battle group was Bran, and he was rooting for me to die so he wouldn't be the only death. So some of the chat gets somewhat entertaining. Going into this fight, I just did this fight last war. The theory's pretty much the same. Pretty much medium, light. While he's got a rock shield up, get the rock shield off, build up as quickly as I can to an SB3, get the SB3 thrown on, and try to get max value out of the post incinerate damage. You can see there I faded out of the SB1 and used that as an opening to attack. That helped out a little bit, I think, on the overall fight strategy. But you are going to see where the dexterity being on comes into play in a little bit. I am capable of fully dexing the SB1. I just prefer not to. It's one of those things where you can get it right 99 times out of 100, but that one time you don't, it can cost you dearly. So, and I do pretty well on the reaction to getting out of the heavy without dexing until right there, and that's gonna come to bite me a little bit, because right coming pretty soon is here where I start making a mistake. I think right here is where I do it. Yep, I do it, and then I'm like, oh crud. So I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna make the same mistake I made last time. So I make sure I get the rock shield off, and then I throw the SB3. And I think if I would have done that last time, I would have been fine as well. So it probably leaving dexterity on is better overall for korg, just for the ability to mitigate block damage, but it's pretty close. And I say it's close because, you could see last war where I took so much more block damage than needed, and this war where I was able to dex out of things, but I triggered the unstoppable, unblockable, and the consequences of that. So it's like I said, it's pretty close. On this one, I think I took it last war as well, this rhino, and I talked about the physical resistance reducing rulk's damage. Well, that actually only comes into play if the rhino's duped. So this one's unduped, so I don't have that reduced physical resistance damage. So it's pretty much a simple fight. Eat the block damage and finish the fight off. Right there, I think I was trying to swipe back and just drop my input. Not a big deal. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can see how much quicker that fight was over the last one without him being duped. So it's kind of like on Note 18. Physical resistance makes a big difference against rulk because his after damage is based on is not an energy damage or a direct damage, but a physical damage. Here I do switch off my suicides. I'm going to use torch for this tigra, so you don't really want suicides on for torch. You can make it work, but it extends the fight out because you kind of wait out the bleed mastery to fall off, so you don't have the reduced incinerate damage. I didn't fast forward through this because as you can tell, I recorded this all in one go, and I didn't really want to break up the video at all. So it's sorry for making you sit through this, and it still goes rather quickly. But I was told I could use magik if I wanted to, and with a PS1 boost, and I thought about it, and I was like, well, setting it up would be a little bit difficult, and then if I'm not getting backdraft intercepts, then there wouldn't be too much of a difference in an overall fight plan for it. So it's like I brought torch, I throw on the flame one, then I throw on the flame on, and here I even do a quick duel just to make sure I have the spacing down on her heavy. I forgot about this. I should have cut this part out, but you can see here I've talked before about doing duels, and this is kind of important to make sure that you know exactly where your spacing is and block hitting. And you can see there there's a kind of, the last part of hers is you see kind of 3 claw swipes in the air, and you don't really see her claw too well. And so I know that's my end, is as soon as I see those that set of claw swipes, I do throw on an invulnerability boost just in case I mess up. And on pre-fights, I've done this before, and I do it pretty often, is I'll back out and then go back in just to make sure that the pre-fight applied. There's some bugs on the pre-fight where you can apply it and sometimes it'll show up, but it's not actually there. Now, my overall strategy on this one is just block a lot, because it's building up smolders on me, and then if she backs off, hit her block, so I can keep spacing, because that's one of the things that make tigra so very dangerous, is her spacing. But you can see I just smoked right through that one. It was a pretty quick fight. And I also got a one-up B Manny on that one, because he died to a tigra with torch. Here I go back in, and I'm not throwing on full suicides. I'm throwing on half suicides, because they do benefit magik significantly. The recoil she'll heal from. The bleed suicide is just extra damage, and if you start off in limo, she'll heal most of that and pretty much negate the suicide effect. Like I said, if you're following along in the battle group chat, you, you get a bit of a chuckle. I did kind of want to try this without the advanced SP1 boost, but because I am kind of getting low on those, but I was like, yeah, I better not. Because I think I can do this without an SP1 boost, and it'd be relatively safe. It's it'll complicate the fight quite a bit, obviously, but once you get to an SB1, then it wouldn't be an issue. There you can see I did intentionally take hits there at the start to build up power. Without an SB1 boost, I probably would have done the same if I started in limbo. I'd start off in block and then make sure I have limbo first and then go for it. Or no, without the SB1 boost, I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't have a bar. I'd be focused more on getting to a bar. You can see here I do try for some stand-up intercepts and they don't work, so I don't do any backdrafts. If I don't have that kind of setup for a magic fight where I'm getting the stand-up intercepts, then I don't bother with trying to backdraft with after I've hit his block. It's just not a smart thing to do. But you can see that fight's pretty simple, especially the SB1 boost just takes a lot of the risk out. As long as you don't dilly it up. Here you can see me type a couple comments to Bryn, because he's the only one who died in the battle group. Fiddy and Bryn. I normally don't focus on that, but I found it rather entertaining, and I thought y'all might enjoy it as well. Sorry to disappoint. So here are my stats. Still got the one death, 97.67 solo rate. The other stats, and then and the BG actually dropped one because I had less fights than another guy, so I'm 0.02 points behind him, hoping to jump him, and then 11th overall in the alliance. So we're looking okay. Not a great season for 4Loki, but not a bad season for me. If you like this video and my war vids overall, go ahead and hit me with a like and the sub. It helps out. Y'all have a good one.